Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Before I begin this video and you'd like to use OCD Recovery's coaching services, please reach out to Phil at ocdrecovery.com and we'll get back to you as quick as you can. So yeah, today guys, I wanted to speak about purpose, passion and meaning and how this can impact us, how this can, blur the lines with OCD a little bit and how, chasing these particular things can get us into trouble. Okay, so broadly speaking, purpose, passion, and meaning tends to have this existential grip, right? It's almost like you need to know this higher power, assigned purpose or meaning, and you need to absolutely know that and bolt that down before you can live a good life, right? And obviously we can't. I'm not, from like a religious angle, which I'm not, by the way, but we can't prove or disprove that particular sort of theory, especially, with religious beliefs. But, scientifically speaking, there's no way of, proving what your ultimate purpose, passion and meaning is in life. All right. And, trying to chase that is quite compulsive. And generally speaking, we just have to get comfortable with the uncertainty of that and not knowing what this predefined purpose, passion or meaning is to our life, right? So let's just try and think about this more rationally. So in terms of, our life meaning, what happens is we're born, we're brought into the world, we exist for a period of, 80 to 90 years, and then we pass away, right? And within that time span, within that life, we do lots of different things. So we work, we have relationships, we mate, we travel, we eat, and we do all these different things. And just day by day, we do loads of different acts and have loads of different traits and characteristics, all shaping together to form our life, right? And there isn't like a one size fits all approach for what might be meaning for someone and what might be meaning for someone else, right? It's just the reality of it. How could you categorically say black and white that person's meaning is to do that person's meaning is to do that, and there's just no way of doing it, right? And in the eyes of others, right, if you don't think that your life has meaning and you're worried about that, in the eyes of others, other people might actually think that you do have meaning to them. So there's no way to prove or disprove that we do have meaning or passion and purpose. All we can do in our life is try and take it as the best as we can in that general direction that we want it to go in, whether it's relationships, whether it's jobs, whether it's travel. All we can just do is try and push it in that general direction and dropping the expectation of feeling passion or feeling meaning or finding your higher power purpose, because it just doesn't really work like that. Like, let's have a look at passion, for example. If we had this unrealistic belief that I must work my passion or I must work my purpose, then it doesn't really make a lot of sense, because there's lots of unemployed people and homeless people who are by default not working their passion or purpose. There are people who work in food stores and people who are bin men who just have a job to make a living, right? By definition, they're not working their passion. I mean, more than likely they're not, right? Some people might enjoy it, but there isn't we gotta be realistic here. There isn't a universal law which states that we absolutely must be working that at all times, because like I said, with real world use cases, there's some people who aren't even working. If every person was working their passion and working their purpose, right, society would collapse, because there would be no bin men, there'd be no shop workers, there'd be no people doing those sort of service jobs, right? And we just have to look at it and be realistic. Even if you was working your passion as well, of course there'd be downsides to it. Say somebody who's professional sports player, right? Somebody who's objectively working their passion, if that even exists, there's still going to be lots of hardships and downsides that come to that. If you're a professional sports star, you're in the public limelight, you can't really do a lot without other people saying anything. There's lots of traveling, hard work, you're away from your family a lot of the times, and it isn't just this happy-go-lucky place where you're constantly happy and it's all good. Of course there is good moments, but we have to really look at it a bit more rationally. All right. So with like I said, with uncertainty, passion and meaning, we have to get a bit comfortable with actually not knowing what that might be, right? And the only way we can get comfortable with that is by not chasing that feeling of working the purpose or passion. Because if you're like doing this, especially, you know, maybe from a job standpoint, you want to know what's my passion, what's my meaning. If you're compulsively chasing jobs and going from 3 to 4 jobs every year in order to try and chase that, right? That's a big problem. Okay, that is a very big problem. What you need to do is you need to just make a decision, and the best thing to do that I can advise is to make a decision and stick with that for an extended period of time, whether it's a few years. And of course, you know, if you're not liking what you're doing or you don't feel like the work is benefiting you, then of course you can change path. It's not one defined path, but it's a compulsive chase for, you know, purpose, passion and meaning that can actually get us into trouble, right? So that is very, very important to consider. And, you know, we need to get comfortable with not knowing what that is, right? You know, there's plenty of people out there who say, you know, find your passion, you'll know what your passion is. But of course, when you've got a doubting disorder, it's going to intercept and interject that and make you feel numb even towards the thing that you want, right? You know, somebody who with OCD and might have a job that they've always wanted. What could happen is they get that job and then all of a sudden they suddenly feel very disconnected to that job because OCD is in there and it's hijacking that. It's making you feel like that you don't want that job, and then you end up leaving the job and then you realise, actually I really did want to do that, right? So that's what's going on, and we have to be really wary of that. So it's just about being realistic with the world. You know, as a human being, we've got so many different roles and duties to fulfill on a day-to-day basis. Like I said, maybe it's going to work, maybe it's bringing up a family, maybe it's traveling. And to an extent, yeah, we can derive meaning from that. Of course, not compulsively, but we can derive some sort of meaning and we can take something from that. And that's absolutely fine. But if you're, you know, absolutely demanding that you have to have this constant higher power, purpose and passion and meaning that you absolutely must know under all circumstances, and if you don't it's awful, then of course that's very unrealistic. And we just have to be you know, realistic with how the world works. You know, we need to make a living, we need to make money, we need to make an income. You know, just because you have a passion, that might not necessarily be the best thing for you. You might have a really high paying job and you might quit that job to work your passion, which has got far less money. I'm not saying this doesn't happen, but it can, and it might have far less money. It might not be objectively the best job for you, and there's still going to be difficult things that happen in that job, right? So we do have to be realistic. And, you know, even if you do work your passion, right, or if you can even work something closer to your passion, there are going to be things that you might actually over time go to dislike that passion. You know, it's not this rigid fixed thing that's always set in stone. Plenty of people's passions can change over time, right? Due to experiences, due to life interests, something might have happened for them to change your purpose, passions and interests. Like for me, for example, I used to be obsessed with football, but as I've sort of recovered, I've actually gone off football a little bit because I sort of realised how irrational it is. And, you know, I've realised that maybe I don't like it as much as I used to. So purpose, passions and meaning, if there are them, they're constantly ever changing. So you're not going to really be able to bolt that down like we think. So what I'm trying to say is don't get too caught up with, you know, what's my purpose and passion and meaning. Just think about what direction in life is going to give you the best chance to, you know, make a good living, earn a good income, you know, cultivate good relationships, good health, you know, adventure and activities. Think about how you can do that in the best way, given the resources that you currently have, given where you live, given your limitations and whatever. And yeah, being open to try new things. Again, I'm not saying switch jobs within 2 months because you don't get that right feeling. No, it's just not realistic. But, you know, even if you say you was in a job for a couple of years and you really stuck at it and then it came after that, then absolutely you can definitely look around. But it's when we're trying to get that quick certainty, that quick fix, that quick I must have this right feeling, I must work my passion, I must work my purpose, and that is when we get in trouble, when we hold it with that rigidity. All right, so just be careful about how you might be going down that road in your daily life.